And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today I have got two very, very special guest chefs with me today. I have my oldest son, Austin Jeffrey Benjamin Smith, and my youngest son, Aaron Matthew Jameson Smith, and they wanted to come and help me cook today. You know, I do think that a very important part of mealtime is sharing it with your children. Get your kids in the kitchen at a very early age. Expose them to not only cooking, but different tastes, different flavors, and different foods. And let that be your bonding time of the day. You can share so much. The boys love to come, and they love to help me cook, and they help me at home all the time, don't you? You help me bake cakes, and we make mashed potatoes, don't we? And then you lick the batters. And you know what? You can use that as a time to share so much with your children. And mealtime, I firmly believe that the most important part of your day together, outside of your time with the Lord, is your family dinner time. We sit down as a family together. The TV goes off, and we sit down as a family and eat dinner most every night of the week. And I know I'm very blessed that my children are young enough to do that. So I wanted to share them with you today. And we are going to make, today, we're going to make a balsamic marinated chicken breast, and then we're going to serve that over spinach and beans and with a side of roasted cherry tomatoes. And I'm just looking forward to eating this today. So today you're going to help me cook, guys?
Yes.
Austin, are you going to help me cook? What's your favorite thing to eat?
Hamburgers.
What's
and
your
steak.
And steak. What's your favorite thing, Aaron?
Pizza.
Pizza. You like pizza.
Cheese.
What's it? Cheese pizza. Well,
Cheese
today,
pizza and pepperoni.
And pepperonis. Okay. Well, today we are going to make some chicken. So, guys, I need your help. All right, Austin. Now, the first thing that you need to do with this meal is you need to get the chicken marinating, and then you can start the other preparations. So we're going to make a quick, easy marinade for our chicken. We have got some olive oil, good extra virgin olive oil. Austin, if you'll pour that in the bowl for me. Okay, be careful. All righty. And then we're going to add some good quality balsamic vinegar. Now, if you've never used balsamic vinegar before, it is a product that comes from Italy, and they age it many, many, many years. It can get very, very expensive. The 100-year-old balsamic vinegar is incredibly expensive. We're not going to use that on anything like today, or the recipe for today. But you can get in your grocery stores good balsamic vinegar. The particular one that I like is aged about 4 years or so. You can get 4 years, 6 year, 10 year. Of course, the longer it's aged, the more expensive. But you can get a good quality bottle of 4-year-old balsamic vinegar in your grocery store, and it is just a couple of dollars, and it adds such a wonderful flavor to so many different foods. So we've got, about 3 tablespoons or so of a good balsamic vinegar, and then Aaron is going to add a couple of tablespoons of grill seasoning. Here you go, pour that in there. Now, grill seasoning, you can get many kinds, many brands, many different varieties. It's black pepper, coarse black pepper, coriander, some lemon, some garlic, and just some salt, and just different flavors in there. It's wonderful on all kinds of meat. My particular favorite is the steak blend of grill seasoning, but you can use any kind of grill seasoning that you happen to have on hand. And just use a small whisk and whisk that together, set that aside. Now, for today, what we have is 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I'd say, probably about 6 to 8 ounces a piece. We just have 4 of those. And what we are going to do is pour this marinade, just stir it up really good. Pour this over your chicken. Now, we're going to let ours marinate for, I would say about 15 minutes or so. But you could do this step you know, an hour or two, or even the night before, you could go ahead and get your chicken breasts marinating and leave them in the refrigerator overnight. My tongs don't want to work here. And what you'll need to do is just kind of turn the chicken in the marinade and just coat it on both sides and get that going. And just turn it and turn it and turn it. So where you're getting all sides of the chicken coated with that marinade. Now remember, the marinade is just balsamic vinegar, olive oil, and grill seasoning. And we are going to just set that aside and let that marinate, and then we're going to get started on our tomatoes. We're going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we're going to get our cherry tomatoes started. And if you are like me and you love those little juicy red bites of a tomato, wait till you taste them roasted. We'll be right back in just a minute. Hi, and we're back, and we are going to start our roasted cherry tomatoes. Now you can get the little cherry tomatoes, you can use grape tomatoes. Grape tomatoes are what I have today, and that's the really little tiny small oval shaped, grape shaped tomatoes. And they're just smaller, they're juicy, they're sweet. And what I did was I just ran them under the water and cleaned them earlier, just rinsed them. And what you want to do is go ahead and take a small skillet. Get your oven preheated to 425 degrees. Use a small skillet and take a couple of green onions. You could use green onions, you could use a shallot, you could use the scallions, you could use a small white onion or a small red onion, whatever that you had on hand. And go ahead and preheat your skillet and add about, a tablespoon or so of extra virgin olive oil. And then chop your onions or shallot or whatever you have. Today I just had green onions on hand. But by all means, if you can use a shallot or a small onion, you can. It's fine. It tastes delicious either way. And get your oil hot, and then use your green onions. And go ahead and put your onions down in your skillet. And you're going to saute those just a little bit, just for a minute or two. And add just a pinch. Now, this is up to you. Add just a pinch of red pepper flakes. And what the red pepper flakes do is just add a little bitty touch of heat, a little bit of spice. And it's just, I like things hot, I like things spicy. It's just up to you, whatever you like. And then give that just a minute, and then add your cherry tomatoes. Now, this recipe you could do in so many different ways. You could use balsamic vinegar, which is what I'm going to use today because I'm going to marry the flavors between the chicken and the tomatoes. Or you could use sherry vinegar if you can find some good sherry vinegar, or red wine vinegar, or I probably would not use apple cider vinegar or white vinegar because those two things would be too harsh. But if you could find some sherry vinegar, it's absolutely delicious with just sherry vinegar or the balsamic vinegar, either one. Once your onions have just started softening just a little bit, just add your tomatoes to it. And then kind of toss those a little bit to kind of coat them with a little bit of oil. You can add just a pinch more of oil if you need it, maybe another teaspoon or so. Add just a touch of salt. I use kosher salt exclusively. I never use anything but kosher salt. And some freshly ground pepper. And again, I cannot emphasize to you strongly enough, use freshly ground pepper. It tastes so much better than the other stuff that you buy already pre-ground. You're getting the fresh flavor of the tomatoes. Now, once you've got that, sweetheart, you might want to move. I've got my Austin right here. Once you get those tomatoes coated, step back. I need you to step back, baby. And then add, off the heat, add your vinegar. If you do not have it off the heat and you add that vinegar, it is going to splutter and splatter and get you and everything else around you, smelling like your vinegar. Now, after you get your vinegar put in the pan, just toss the tomatoes to coat. You see how it's already starting to kind of get just a little bit brown and the skin is blistering? That is exactly what you want. Once you get the tomatoes in the pan, take them to your preheated 425 degree oven and just simply put them in there, and that is done. All that needs to do is roast for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now, in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to start on our chicken and our side dish. The chicken, remember, we started a marinade of balsamic vinegar, olive oil, and grill seasoning. I've already got my pan preheated to, pretty high heat. I'd say, I don't know, medium high heat, as you can say. I am using a cast iron pan. If you have a cast iron grill pan, by all means, use that. And what you want to do is you want to put your chicken down. It's going to make some smoke. It's going to make, it's going to splatter out just a little bit. Get your chicken in your pan and fit it in there however you can. And then just kind of let that work. Now, once you get the chicken in the pan, do not mess with the chicken. Let it go. We're going to take another break, and when I come back, we're going to finish up the chicken, and we're going to do a side dish of spinach and white beans. We'll be right back. Hey, and welcome back. Now, our chicken has been on. My pan was really hot, and so what you need to do right now is turn your chicken over, and look how good that looks. Now, the balsamic vinegar will add just a little bit of touch of caramelization to your chicken, because it's got just, a little bit of sweetness in there. So just let that work on the other side. Remember, the second side does not take as long as the first. Now, in this other skillet, we are going to get our white beans and spinach working. And the first thing I want to do, my pan is preheating, is I want to chop an onion. This is a big onion, so probably I'm just going to use maybe half of this onion here. So what you're going to do is just chop it however you like. I like just little thin slivers, little thin moons of onion. So just get that, and then just slice your onion into little small thin half moons. And keep an eye on your chicken. Now remember, in the oven we've got those beautiful cherry tomatoes roasting. And I tell you, roasting vegetables is one of my favorite way to cook. I roast just about every kind of vegetable you can imagine. I love asparagus roasted, carrots roasted, of course potatoes and onions and rutabaga. I love rutabaga roasted, and parsnips and different things. But if you've never tried roasting tomatoes, I want to encourage you to try that recipe. It goes so well with other side dishes or other foods. It can be a side dish to any kind of meat or fish that you might have for that night's supper. But once you get your tomatoes, or your onions, kind of cut sort of fine there, get some olive oil. I use a lot of olive oil. It's heart healthy. Put about, 2-3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in your pan. Now, if your pan is hot, soon as you put the oil in there, it will be plenty hot enough to cook with. And then just drop your onions straight in your pan. And just kind of let them go. Now the goal here is to get the onions just a little tiny bit browned up. We are going to add a couple of cloves of garlic, fresh garlic. Again, I'm not a gadget person. I like to just chop things, with the knife that you already own. Some people like to get those garlic choppers, but I just as soon use a knife. I mean, it does great, and you can control how fine or coarse your garlic is. You want to make sure that it is chopped sort of fine. You don't want to bite into a big piece of garlic in your dish, and then just kind of go through it with your knife. And then once you get it minced up kind of fine, then add that straight to your onions. Remember to never put garlic in a pan unless you have something in that pan, or else it will burn, and burnt garlic does not taste well. Add just a little bit of salt. I'm not a big salt person. You can control the amount that you like in your food. Then we're going to have about, I'd say a teaspoon to a tablespoon of rosemary chopped, a teaspoon or so of thyme. Again, I like things hot and spicy, so I'm going to add just a little bit of red pepper flake, because I like things with a little bit of a bite to it, and 1 bay leaf, 1 dried bay leaf. What those things will do is just add a lot of flavor to your dish. Now here I have just a handful of flat Italian parsley. You want to just chop that on your board for right now. You don't want to add this too early. You want the leaves mostly, you know, you're going to have some stems in there, and that's okay. That's okay. Just get the flat leaf parsley. You can use the curly parsley, but I just personally think that this has more flavor to it. The flat leaf seems to have a brighter flavor than the flat leaf. You want to kind of mince it sort of fine, not too fine, but just a little bit. I got to take another quick break, and when I come back, we're going to finish up our spinach and our beans. We're going to get our chicken off the grill and our tomatoes out of the oven, and I'll be right back with you. Hey, and welcome back to Everyday Manna. Today we are making a balsamic glazed chicken breast with a side of roasted cherry tomatoes with spinach and white beans. And so far we've got our tomatoes in the oven, our onions are sauteing, and our chicken is cooking, and we are looking good and smelling good in this kitchen. We have got some onions, just 1 large onion that we chopped up, and we added some rosemary and thyme and red pepper flakes, and a bay leaf is in there, and we just are kind of getting that, you know, just a little tiny bit brown on the onions. You want your onions to be soft and slightly caramelized in there. And let's check our chicken. I think we're looking really good on our chicken breasts. They're looking delicious. They need just a couple more minutes. Now, to the onions, we'll add just a little bit of freshly ground pepper. I love pepper. I like things spicy. I love real hot, spicy food, and I add pepper to everything that I cook. Sometimes I ask myself, do I want a little salad with my pepper when I'm making a salad? But just kind of let the onions just sort of hang out there. We've got them sauteing in just a little tiny bit of olive oil. Now, one trick to using a lemon, always roll your lemon on a board with your hand. That kind of gets the juices distributed, and I'm telling you, 90% of the flavor of a lemon is on the outside of the lemon. So what I'm going to use is just a microplane. You can get these at any grocery supply house, or you know, the places where you go, your Walmarts, Kmarts, wherever you go that you buy your kitchen utensils, and just use your microplane and just take your lemon. You can do oranges, you can do tangerines, lemons, whatever you're doing. And you want to just rake it on the outside rind of the lemon. Make sure that you do not get to the white part. You stop at the white part. Once you get the yellow off, you're getting the zest off of the lemon. You would be surprised at how much flavor lemon zest adds to any dish that you add to. And I love it. And I add lemon zest to just about anything that I put lemon in. Always remember when you're using a microplane that the food sometimes will get stuck on the back. So always just kind of tap it on your board to make sure that you get all of that off. And then go ahead and cut your lemon in half, and we will add the juice of that in just a minute. We've got, I'd say half a cup, 1/4 to 1/2 cup of the flat leaf parsley chopped. Going to go into the beans and the onions in just a moment. Now my onions are looking wonderful. So what I'm going to add now is I had 1 box of frozen chopped spinach. And I've thawed it in the microwave, and just you know, you take a kitchen towel or your hands and just wring out all of the extra liquid that's in there. It's already cooked, so you just really are kind of warming it through. So you want to just add the spinach. And then I had 1 can of Great Northern beans. Now you could use the Italian cannelli beans if you can find those, or cannellini, excuse me. You could use navy beans. You could use any kind of bean that you like. I like Great Northern beans. So 1 can of those, just drained and rinsed under a sink to kind of get rid of some of the sodium out of the canned beans. Sometimes that's a problem. Maybe you have high blood pressure and you want to watch your sodium level. Then you can use the canned beans and canned products like that. Just rinse them. And then just kind of distribute your spinach and your beans throughout your onions and let that heat through. Now, we're going to add our lemon zest. Remember, we zested This is the zest of 1 whole lemon, and just kind of add that in there. And we're going to squeeze some lemon. Now, I'm not one, I don't care if the little pits get in there. Some people are particular about that. I'm not. But use a lemon reamer and just squeeze all of that good juice. That was a pretty juicy lemon. So we'll add the whole thing. Sometimes if there's a lot of juice, you can just add half of a lemon. But just squeeze the lemon, use a reamer, and get all of that good juice out of the lemon. And then stir that all together. And this is delicious, and it is so healthy. Spinach is incredibly healthy for you. If you've never tried it in either fresh or frozen, I'm not a big fan of canned spinach, but the frozen spinach and fresh spinach is absolutely delicious. It's full of vitamins and irons and minerals. And then your beans, of course, have lots of fiber and the protein that we need. And just in a combination with those good onions and garlic and all of those herbs and spices that we added, it's going to be delicious. Now, I think our chicken is done. Let me get these tongs here. We just marinated our chicken. And remember, anytime that you are working with poultry or any other kind of meat, when you cook your meat, make sure that you let it rest. Once you get it off the heat source, whether it's the grill or the skillet or whatever you're doing, you need to let the chicken rest. We're going to add in our flat leaf parsley to our beans and spinach, and that just adds a bright flavor to it. And that is done, so let's turn off the heat on that one and the chicken and just kind of let those rest for just a moment. And let's wipe off our board here a little bit. And let's check our tomatoes. Now, they are delicious. I'll use my Aaron or Austin's little mitt there. But the tomatoes are absolutely wonderful. Make sure when you come to the oven that you remember that pan is very, very hot. So make sure you have an oven mitt when you get those tomatoes out of the oven. And don't they look absolutely delicious? They are just caramelized and yummy and roasted, and I just love them. I could eat that whole pan myself. So to plate this, just get a pretty plate and get a base of your spinach and your beans. Remember to remove that bay leaf. You don't want to eat those. You always need to remove the bay leaf and just put some of that on a plate, and then top that with a chicken breast. And then come in here with some of these wonderful, yummy, yummy tomatoes. And there you go. And that is balsamic glazed chicken with spinach and white beans and roasted red tomatoes, and I can't wait to eat. Thank you for joining me today. I have enjoyed our time together. Remember that God gave us natural food as well as spiritual food, and we need to combine the best of those each and every day of our lives. I'll see you next time.
If you enjoyed this episode of Everyday Manna and would like a copy of today's recipes, please write Living Faith Television, CO Everyday Manna, P.O. Box 1867, Abingdon, Virginia, 24212, or visit our website at www.livingfaithtv.com. Please be sure to include the program number found on the bottom of the screen in your letter so we will know which recipes you would like. Thanks for watching, and join us again for the next episode of Everyday Manna.